It can be a historic role for the people to bring kids back to the families.
Tuesday at the UN, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and Prime Minister Mark Carney will co-host an event about Ukrainian children abducted by Russia. Data from Yale University shows Russia abducted up to 35,000 Ukrainian children since the war began. Russia denies those allegations. Save Ukraine is an NGO that organizes rescue missions to Russia and Russian-occupied territories. So far, it has rescued nearly 800 kids. This month, it released a joint report with War Child, shedding light on what those children faced while abducted. Mykola Kuleba is the founder of Save Ukraine, and he joins us now from Kyiv. Nice to see you this morning.
Nice to see you. Thank you.
I want to start with this joint report with War Child, built around testimonies from 200 children, firsthand accounts from these children who were rescued. What did we learn from that?
The Return Every Child report released last week with the War Child UK shares the trauma of 200 children rescued by Save Ukraine. And it is the first time where we have a detailed description of Russia's modern day system of child trafficking, where Russia turned our children into soldiers to fight against their homeland. And through their voices, we see Russia's systematic campaign of indoctrination designed to erase Ukrainian identity. And this is a clear violation of multiple international laws. And in the report, we call for the immediate return of our children, the importance of justice and accountability, and the need to provide support for children's long-term recovery and reintegration.
So explain why Russia is doing this, and is it obviously it's part of a strategy, to your point.
Yeah, it's clear Russia's strategy to annihilate Ukrainian identity. And I can tell you one of the hundreds of stories, because for now, Save Ukraine rescued up to 900 children, and you can find the stories of only 200 of them in this report. And one boy told us how the hardest thing for him was witnessing the death of his friend. The Russians found a message thread with Ukrainian soldiers on his phone. They ripped out his teeth and eyelids and cut off his fingers. He couldn't survive the torture, and later the Russian news said he died of a blood clot. But we know true is they killed him. And we have different testimonies of different kids, and it's clear. It's what Russia's doing is genocide. They annihilating Ukrainian children, even innocent kids and their families.
And how much of it is about, as you mentioned off the top there, training Ukrainian children for military interventions to fight for Russia and against Ukraine?
Through our report, when a majority, 55%, tell us they were subjected to mandatory lessons drilled into their heads, pro-Russian versions of history and bans on speaking Ukrainian or engaging with anything Ukrainian or Western. At the same time, we are saying that 41 of children reports they had weapons training, were forced to drills or join military youth movements. I want to hear you from 14 years old boy voice. We had a crawl under barbed wire and with rifles and set booby traps. They said we would be soldiers soon, Russian soldiers. And we have kids in our rehabilitation centers who've been in Russian training, military training camps, and one 16 years old girl showing you how to set a booby trap. It's horrible, really. I heard this many times from children.
Yeah. So Canada is part of playing a leading role on this issue. The Prime Minister, Prime Minister Carney, President Zelensky will be at the UN this week to talk about this issue of missing Ukrainian children, kidnapped Ukrainian children. What are you hoping to see from the international community? What is still needed here to support this?
First of all, we thank the government of Canada for being one of our strongest allies. And with Canada's support, Save Ukraine, with the HALA system, have identified more than 800 Ukrainian children trapped in forced transfer and indoctrination programs and rescued more than 200 children from Russia captivity. We are also grateful Canadian partners and as the Timothy Foundation, Canada-Ukrainian Foundation, and the Humanity, who provide support for more than 120 kids. And we are rescuing them, we provide rehabilitation. That's why Canada's support is very valuable for Ukraine. And we are waiting that they will help us to identify and locate Ukrainian children in Russia captivity and help us bring them home, because we have to talk about hundreds of thousands Ukrainian children who still are being captured and still there. And we have no information how many of them or where parents were just disappeared or killed or arrested. We only can hear this from that kids who've been rescued by Save Ukraine or Ukrainian government, but it's a little drop. We need more actions from our allies.
Mykola Kuleba, you're doing important work. Thank you for talking to us about it. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you.